When my wife Lauren invited me to her office's annual holiday party, I almost said no. The last few months had been rough between us. Late nights, constant work meetings, and text messages she always seemed to hide. But a part of me wanted to believe her when she said, "Come, it'll be good for us." So, I put on my best suit, grabbed a bottle of wine, and told myself that tonight I'd just be her proud husband, not the suspicious man who had been silently connecting dots in his head. The party was at a fancy downtown hotel ballroom. Soft lights, jazz music, champagne glasses clinking. Lauren looked beautiful. No denying that. Her red dress caught every eye in the room. And her laughter carried across the floor. But what caught my attention wasn't her smile. It was the way she leaned toward her coworker Ben every time he spoke. The same Ben she once called just a friend. The same Ben whose name kept showing up in her late-night text logs. My gut twisted, but I stayed calm, watching from a distance. I approached them, smiling, trying to keep my voice even. "Hey, honey," I said, sliding an arm around her waist. "You going to introduce me?" Ben turned, smirking slightly. "Oh, this must be the famous husband," he said, offering a handshake that lingered a bit too long. His eyes never quite met mine. They were fixed on Lauren. She laughed awkwardly, saying, "Ben, this is Jack." That's when I saw it. His hand brushed the small of her back, subtle, but intimate, like he'd done it before. I clenched my jaw, but said nothing. The room felt smaller suddenly, every laugh sounding hollow. I excused myself to grab a drink, pretending to be casual. From across the bar, I watched them. Ben leaned closer, whispered something in her ear, and she swatted his arm playfully. Maybe it was harmless, maybe it wasn't. But when he placed his hand on her hip, I knew this wasn't just office banter. It was a boundary crossed. The old me would have made a scene right then and there. But I'd learned that silence could be far more dangerous. I stepped outside for a few minutes, breathing in the cold night air, planning my next move. My phone buzzed, a text from one of Lauren's co-workers, Sandra. We'd spoken once at a previous event and she seemed like one of the few decent people in that circle. Her message read, "You should keep an eye on Ben. He's been bragging." My pulse spiked. Bragging about what? When I walked back in, I caught them near the bar. Ben's hand on Lauren's shoulder again. Too comfortable. Too familiar. She looked uncomfortable this time, maybe realizing how it appeared. I walked up slowly, smiling as if nothing was wrong. "Mind if I borrow my wife for a second?" I said, my tone cool, but sharp enough to cut glass. Ben chuckled. "Sure, man. Just don't keep her all night." That was his mistake. The arrogance, the smirk, the belief that I wouldn't say or do anything. Outside, I asked Lauren straight, "What's going on between you and him?" Her eyes widened. "Jack, nothing. He's just like that with everyone." "With everyone," I said quietly. "He touches everyone like that." She didn't answer. Instead, she said the worst thing she could have. "You're overreacting." That was the moment I knew she was lying. Not because of what she said, but how easily it came out. I went back inside, not to argue, but to end it. Ben was still by the bar, drink in hand, laughing with another group of co-workers. I walked up to him, calm, smiling. "Hey, Ben," I said. He turned smug again. "Yeah, Jack." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't warn him. I just leaned in and said, "Touch my wife again, and you won't be bragging about anything for a while." He laughed, about to reply, and that's when I did it. My fist connected with his jaw so hard that his glass shattered as he hit the floor. The room went silent. People gasped. Phones came out. Someone yelled. Lauren screamed my name, but I didn't look at her. Security rushed in. And before anyone could say a word, I said, "Tell your HR department." He earned that punch. Then I walked out. No dramatics, no shouting, just pure cold clarity. The next morning, I packed my bags. Lauren begged me to talk. Said it was just harmless flirting, said I embarrassed her. But when I showed her the screenshots Sandra sent me, messages between her and Ben, plans for after the party, she went pale. The guilt was written all over her face. She tried to deny it at first, but I was done. You said I was overreacting, I told her. Turns out I was underreacting. I filed for divorce the same week. Ben was fired shortly after for unprofessional behavior. As for Lauren, she called me months later crying, saying she missed me. But I didn't pick up. That night at the party, she let another man touch what was never his, and she lost everything because of it. Now, every time I see a couple at an office event laughing and drinking, I think about that night. About the moment silence became strength and one punch became the full stop to years of quiet humiliation.